With the 4th of July coming up, we're seeing more and more of this. People going out to shelters to comfort dogs because the dogs get anxious and stressed out by the sound of fireworks. I just need to say that this is one of the most crazy things ever. This is insane. This is like living in a giant insane asylum, and I want to get out of it, but I can't because everywhere I go, there's no way out. There's like I'm trapped here with these insane people who are making their children read books to these beasts. These are the same creatures that are watching your offspring, not with interest, like you like to think, but with a primal instinct to attack them because they see these children as prey or as competition for food. Even dog nuts admit that you should not leave your child alone with a dog because if the child accidentally trips on the dog or is somehow annoying to the dog is going to injure them, possibly kill them, rip their faces off. And why? Because they are animals. Now, would you want a human being in your house that you could not trust to leave alone with your child? A human being that if your child would your toddler who naturally explores his or her environment by grabbing things and feeling things. If let's say there was a human and your toddler grabbed on their beard or something, and this sent that person into a frenzy and caused them to permanently disfigure your child, make them bloody, possibly rip an ear off, or some similar thing. Would you want that person in your house? Would you want a person in your house who, if you walk out of the room for 5 minutes, they might possibly kill your child? Of course not, right? Who in their right mind would want a person like that in their home? And yet we cherish dogs. We worship dogs. We say dogs are even better than humans, when these are the exact same behaviors dogs will do. And somehow, because they are of a different species, they're given a free pass. This is insane. So to go to an animal shelter and make your child read a book to this very same beast that would not hesitate to attack your child. And, I'm not even going to entertain any kind of questions about or comments about how it's all how you raise them, or it's because of irresponsible owners that dogs turn out the way, to attack kids, that they somehow have to be trained to be vicious, or that they bite and attack people because they were somehow mistreated or abused. I have stated multiple times on different videos that these are myths, and I've provided you with the evidence, so I'm not even going to go there. But what I want to say is, what about comforting human beings who are having their lives literally destroyed by the sound of barking dogs? Millions of people, as I have demonstrated in my video about how I call the video the deleterious effects of exposure to chronic noise pollution or chronic barking, millions of people's lives are destroyed by the sound of barking. These are people whose health is being affected negatively. High blood pressure, lack of sleep, irritability, depression. Some of these people, and I know because they have contacted me personally, are pushed to the point of contemplating suicide because of the incessant barking they are exposed to in their homes. There's no way to get away from barking. Forget about the people who are, by the millions daily, they're startled, they are harassed when you're walking through a parking lot and there's like a dog inside of a vehicle and you're not expecting it to be there, and then all of a sudden it just starts raging at you through the window and your blood pressure shoots up and you're put into a state of panic. This triggers tremendous anxiety in some people. What do people say? Go have a teaspoon of cement and harden up. It's what dogs do. Uh, but the poor doggy who's anxious because of, the fireworks. Oh, we have to go play a song on the ukulele for that dog. Oh, poor baby. And whenever you confront them with their dog's barking, dog lovers always say, well, the dog's just doing its job. It's protecting its property. Look, I protect my property, but I'm not going to start raging at people for innocently walking past my vehicle or past my house. So if you're going to live in human society, you need to behave in a civilized manner. And part of that includes being able to discern a threat from a non-threat. Somebody that is just simply minding their own business and walking past your vehicle is not a threat. So you have no need to lash out at them and start yelling and harassing them. Likewise, walking by my house, minding your own business, is not a reason for me to start assaulting you verbally and screaming at you and brandishing a deadly weapon in your face like dogs do, because their teeth are deadly weapons. I was walking down my street the other day with my 6-year-old, and at the end of our street, we have neighbors with 2 large Mastiff type dogs that go absolutely bananas when you pass by their house. And they rushed right up to the fence. They were baring their teeth. They were barking up a storm, freaking out. And, the sudden onslaught of barking, the loud, jarring, repetitive, and I mean loud, noises startled us. It shot up my blood pressure. It caused both of us to feel a lot of anxiety. Actually, caused us to have the same kind of reaction dogs do when they are exposed to the sound of fireworks. Go figure. So how come there wasn't an article in the newspaper for people to come and play songs on the ukulele for us? I would like that. Come sing to me when that happens. Come and read me a book. And my son, he could use that in during those times. You know what I'm saying? Do you see how crazy this is? All these people, by the millions, are being startled and being, forced into a state of anxiety because of these loud, unexpected, disturbing noises. I had the air horn with me. I go hiking with a ship's air horn, which I like to sound every few minutes because we have grizzly bears and cougars around here. And so when these dogs started to rage at us, I had the fantasy of taking out my air horn and just blowing it repeatedly in the dogs' faces. I'm not sure what kind of effect this would have had, but I could just imagine the owner coming out and freaking out and yelling at me and swearing at me and whatever. And I would say, oh, so your dogs don't like being startled by loud, sudden noises? And he'd say, no, of course not. And I would say, well, now you know exactly how we feel. Human beings are crazy in that they extend compassion to dogs for the very same things humans are suffering from because of the dogs. Do you see how crazy this is? Where's all the compassion for humans? Why are humans not going out to comfort all these people whose lives are being utterly destroyed by dog barking and by other dog behaviors? What about all the parents who are terrified to let their children walk to school? Because regularly we hear about children being attacked by dogs for walking to school while waiting at the bus stop. Regularly, they're being attacked by dogs. Parents are scared to let their kids out. Even people who don't have kids are afraid to leave their houses. I've been in contact with people who look out their windows and are filled with anxiety and scan the neighborhood before they even open their front door because they're afraid. How come no one's going to their house to comfort them? I mean, it would be insane, right, to even suggest such a thing in our crazy society, which is completely backwards, because we should be extending more compassion to humans than we do to dogs. We don't extend any compassion to the billions of land animals, 53 billion land animals being tortured and killed needlessly every year because people like the taste of their dead bodies. These animals are being tortured horrifically in ways that you can't imagine, and I think most of you don't even think about. But if you inform yourself on standard farming practices, you'll be shocked. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but where is everyone's compassion for those animals? It's absent. And where is people's compassion for rats when we exterminate rats or mice? No compassion. People are choosing to extend compassion to dogs because we are being programmed through commercials and advertising and movies and media, whatever, from all sides, constantly from the day we are born, to believe dogs are special and that they're somehow different from other farm animals and wild animals and whatever. And another thing, look at this picture, right? Someone is afraid of fireworks. Now, I'm sorry, but your dog is not a someone. We don't talk about moose and say, if we see a moose behind the trees in the forest, we don't say, oh, I saw someone over there. Someone is reserved for a human. We don't talk about someone when we are talking about a raccoon in the trash can or a deer on the road. We don't say someone stood on the road. Do you see how language has an impact on the way we think? Because of the language we are subjected to and that we hear in movies and books and so on, we are programmed to think of dogs as people, as family members. They're not. They are animals. They are instinct driven. They are just as unpredictable and just as dangerous as wild animals. Just because people choose to call them fur babies and treat them like family members does not mean they are not animals. They still are animals, and this is something people are forgetting. So don't say someone when you're talking about a dog. It is an animal just like a cougar, just like a wolf. And when those animals venture into our territory and lose their fear of humans, we kill them with good reason, because they become a threat to our offspring primarily. And as animals, it is natural and normal to want to protect our children from threatening animals, even if those animals are not behaving aggressively in the moment. When other animals see a threat in their territory, another creature that could pose a risk to their offspring, they get out of that territory, or they drive that animal out of their territory, or they even kill it. And the thing with dogs is we can't relocate them into the wilderness like we sometimes do with bears and so on, because the dogs are always going to find a way back into our communities to terrorize us, to chase us, to harass us, to infect us with rabies, to attack and disfigure and kill people. That is why eliminating them is the only solution. So this 4th of July, go and comfort a human. When I see, if somebody would put a sign like this up in my neighborhood, honestly, I would go out and I would buy as many of the loudest fireworks I could find, and I'd shoot them up with glee into the sky. Like, these people are crazy. Show some empathy and compassion for children, for human beings. What is wrong with you? You should be ashamed of yourselves. Ashamed of yourselves. It is absolutely disgusting how you value dog life over children's lives, over human life. Absolutely disgusting. It sickens me, and it needs to be called out. This disgusting behavior needs to be ridiculed. Go sing to a human. Go and caress a human. Hug a human. They are far more worthy of your compassion than dogs are. I Hate Dogs recently uploaded a video called "Do Dogs Deserve Our Compassion?" or something like that, and I encourage you to watch it. Short answer is no, they do not. Do human beings deserve our compassion? Yes, they do. Why? Because we are human beings. We are a social species and we need one another to survive. So if you're going to walk around with this misanthropic attitude and hate humans, then that's going to contribute to their unhappiness and their dysfunction, which in turn is going to affect the society you live in and then in turn affect you. So by harming other people, you're harming yourself because you are a social animal and you depend on other humans for survival. So if we all want to be happier and healthier in this world, we need to treat other human beings with more kindness and more compassion and have more empathy for them. That's the only way we can ever hope to have a healthier society. Anyhow, I've rambled on long enough. I encourage all of you to go out there, buy some fireworks, and have a great 4th of July. Great Canada Day for those in Canada. And great whatever day you celebrate in whichever country you are in. Don't ever hold back on the fireworks. If these people don't want dogs to suffer, then they should not buy dogs. They should not get dogs. They should discourage others from owning dogs. They should frown upon dog ownership completely. In that way, dogs won't suffer. And we should not stop doing something that brings us a lot of joy and pleasure, something we've been doing for a long, long, long time. Most humans enjoy fireworks. We should be able to do this without any worry or guilt at all. If you don't like it, take your dogs to an island somewhere and go live there. Go live an unnatural, weird-ass existence with your scavenging beasts and leave us here to continue living and enjoying ourselves without worrying about your stinking, predatory child maulers. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe, and remember, the future is dog-free.